Okay. So, like Lindsay said, I graduated from the Bowling Green State University. I worked for a number of years in Toledo. I am currently a member of the H2O Church at Akron University. And about a month ago, I had Cincinnati chili for the first time. I love all of you guys. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to start with a couple questions, and I want you to write down your answers because I very sneakily collected some of your names, and I'm going to call on a couple of you. So don't be scared. For starters, I would like you to just simply write down 5 people, things that you love, like really, really love. I'm going to give you a minute. Okay, I hope I say this right, but Kalina from Toledo. I'm going to need you to say it real loud so everybody can hear you, okay?
What I wrote down?
Top 5 things that you love.
Okay, so I love my Nana. I love my brother's sister. I love my animals. I love my friends. And I didn't write down the 5th one, but I know I should put God. But at this moment in time, I do love God. It's just, we're broken.
That's a good answer. Really honest. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Danny Weaver from Cincinnati.
I wrote down God, my family, my friends, my dog, and cheese.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Let's do one more. How about Haley Lewis?
Okay, I wrote God, Nelson, my man, Avery, my girl right here, family, and dance.
That's great. Great. This is a good beginning, okay? Now we're going to take it a level or 2 deeper, okay? I want you to write down your answer again and answer the question, what is love? Like, in the deepest, truest sense of the word, what is love? Okay, how about Hannah from Toledo? Yes. Great, if you can speak real loud, okay?
Yes, love to me is Jesus' image of me.
Great, I like that. Cami from BG? Cami? Oh, sorry, Cami. How about Abby from BG? Okay, Abby, I wrote really poorly. Sinert? S? That's you? Okay, that's simple and succinct. I like that. God is love. How about one more? Lauren Kilpatrick. Okay, that's good. Selflessness and forgiveness. That's really good. When I started out at Bowling Green, I was an art major. And I love the art building, right? There's art everywhere. Like you walk through the halls and there'd be like remnants of some class's critique. There'd be giant class projects. And most of the art professors would like plaster their door to their office with prints of their stuff or like little postcard prints of really famous artwork. Like everywhere you look, there would be beautiful, interesting, thought-provoking art. But there's one professor that I really, really liked, did not have a door that was plastered in art. Okay, she had the single cardboard sign with the word love painted on it in white. I think I have a slide to demonstrate this. Yeah, look, there it is. Great. Looks kind of like that. And that's all that there was, just that single piece of cardboard on her door. And for whatever reason, that really, really struck me. Like I thought about it maybe more than it warranted. Right? It was just a piece of cardboard with white paint. It was really simple, but at the same time, incredibly complicated. That one word you could argue maybe that it held as much beauty and complexity as the rest of the art and the rest of the building. Love, when you think about it, kind of gets in your head, right? I thought like this little piece of cardboard, it's almost like it opened up into this Narnia of color and depth and meaning, all because of that single word, love. Because love, if you think about it, is so incredibly powerful. Right? Love can bring hope. It can provide purpose. It can cause growth. Love is inspiring. It is healing. It's connecting. It's so many things. I like to think that love is to the spiritual world what light is to the physical world. Love is profound. And I think some of the most crazy, amazing things about love are described in the Bible. And specifically today, we're going to look at several verses in 1 John chapter 4. In that chapter, John spends a good chunk of time kind of talking about love, what it is, and God's role in it. Twice, in two separate places, I think it's I have it down here, 8 and 16. Yes, 8 and 16. John writes, God is love, which is another one of those things that can really get into your brain. Think about it. God is love. He also goes on to explain several different times what he says most succinctly in 1 John 4:19. We love because he first loved us. So as his creation, like as his children, our love is a reflection of God's love in us. Our capacities, capabilities, cravings. That was some good alliteration, right, Akron? 3 C's. All of those things that are in us, that are built for love, have been like woven into the fabric of our souls because love is who God is. And we bear his image. So love is profound, and love comes from God. I also want to make the point that love is compelling. And I don't mean compelling in I think that's an adjective. Like, oh, that's a compelling argument. That's an adjective, right? Yeah, okay. I mean it as a verb. Like, I am compelled to do something. God's love is compelling. And again, John makes this point in 1 John chapter 4. But I think it's maybe best summarized by one of the most famous verses in the Bible, which you can see, I put this together. We've all seen it, right? People hold it up at sporting events. Tim Tebow writes it on his face. Forever 21, right? You can find it on the bottom of the bag. John 3:16. Such a good verse. It sums it all up for us. If it's not overly weird, I'd really like us all to read it together, okay? Here we go. For God so loved the world. Yes. Good job, guys. But yes. What I want to draw your attention to the that. Specifically the first that. God so loved the world that. His love is so great. His love is so real that he had to do something with it. Because of his love, he rescued us. Because of his love, he redeemed us. So if God's love is a love that compels action, which is what, there you go, John 3:16 says. If God's love is a love that requires action. And if our love is a reflection of God's love, we love because he first loved us. Now, I need to give a disclaimer here. On this next slide, our love does not equal God's love, right? Like we can't possibly have the same quality or quantity of love as God. What I'm trying to say here is that our love comes from God, so therefore our love is his love, but not as good. Loosely. Okay, so if God's love requires action and our love comes from his love, if we use the transitive property of math, everybody remembers this, right? 4th grade, okay? If A equals B and B equals C, therefore A must equal C. So if God's love is compelling and our love comes from God's love, that means that our love must also be compelling. If we love someone, there's something we need to do about that love. Something that should come out of our great love for someone else. When Wendy asked me to talk to you guys about being rooted in mission, she said one of the reasons she thought I might be a good person for the gig is that I've been a part of 2 church plants. And this is true. H2O, Collegiate Church have like a culture of church planting. When I was in BG, I watched people leave to start churches in Amsterdam, Orlando, Cincinnati, and Toledo. Chad and I helped lead a team of people to start a church at Kent State. And then as that church grew, we were able to help get something started at the University of Akron. But if I'm being totally honest, right, I don't really feel qualified to talk to you guys about mission. I haven't done anything super strategic or overly sacrificial. I don't have a crazy missionary story, and I honestly haven't told troves of people about Jesus. I can honestly feel tempted to feel a little bit like a fraud, right, standing up in front of you guys today, talking about this. But as I thought it through, God kept bringing me back to the idea of love. And for that, I just feel so thankful. Because if I boil it all down, right, Chad and I have been in college ministry for 15-ish years. I'm here because I love college students. You guys are fun, you're adventurous, and you're at such a unique and pivotal point in your life. You're about to go out and get jobs and make decisions and become parents and change the world. And honestly, I just feel really, really blessed to be in the spot that I'm at, that I could even play a small part in the way that you, world changers, love Jesus and love others. I think if you boil it all down, get to the root of it, mission, mission isn't necessarily about strategy or sacrifice or zealousness. The heart of mission is love. It's really, really seeing the people around you and feeling love for them. And that love compels you to want them to know Jesus. It can be a whole bunch of different things, right? It can be talking with someone who is hurting, reaching out to someone you don't know, showing love and compassion to the people in your life. But all of it is with the goal or the compulsion to want them to know Jesus. And that's the point. That's the point of mission. I know this can feel scary, though, to feel like you need to tell someone about Jesus. But I'd like to make you the argument that if your motivation is love, like you're not telling people about Jesus because you feel like you have to, or you feel like this would make for a good story in my small group next week. If you're telling people about Jesus because you love that person and you want them to know Christ's love, I feel like that love is way more powerful than any fears we can allow ourselves to grab hold of. And honestly, I think that's what God's calling all of us to do. To love with actions fearlessly. Like wherever we go and whatever we do, we're leaving love in our wake. As I was thinking about this, I was trying to process a really good visual for you guys. And I landed on crop dusting. I grew up on a farm. And I have this really distinct memory. Okay, crop dusting was not a common practice in our area. But my brother and I was probably 10 years old, and we were outside, and we heard this really, really loud engine noise. And then all of a sudden, over the line of trees near our house, this plane just kind of like shot out. So my brother and I like raced up this hill near our house to try to have like a better view of what was happening. Which now, like, the mom in me kind of cringes, like, probably a lot of pesticides on us that day. But whatever. So from way up on this hill, we could see this guy, right? He would go up into the sky and make this crazy turn and literally go back over the trees like he was going to hit them. He would get within 10 feet of the ground. I think I have a crop dusting picture to show you how crazy these people are. The guy was fearless. Or maybe insane. Or maybe both. But the idea here is, crop dusting is a weird thing. I'll give you that. But I love it as a metaphor. What if we loved like that? Like purposefully and fearlessly. Crop dusting everyone in our path with love. Oh, sorry. For me, loving college students these past 15 years or so has looked like a lot of different things. I actually listed some out for you guys, okay? Being on mission has meant talking to college students I've never met before and inviting them to events. On many occasions, it has meant helping move people into dorms or apartments or out of those same dwellings. It could be making a home-cooked meal, or being a shoulder to cry on in the midst of a tough breakup or family situation. It could be deep talks at night, or in the morning, I guess. It doesn't really matter. I've tried helping people with their calculus. I played intramural sports well into my 30s. I've sat with girls at difficult doctor's appointments. Sometimes I write raps. Sometimes I pull pranks. Sometimes I bake cookies. But all of it is with the hopes of telling people about Jesus. And I'm not trying to say that, I'm not making this list to puff myself up, right? That's not the point. What I want us to think about is that love can look like a million different things. But how can we do it fearlessly? How can we do it all the time? As much as we can. I gave you guys in your rows, there are little cardboard love signs, just like the one in the art building before you were born. And I just thought you guys could have them as a reminder of how much God loves you and how that love can be compelling in your everyday life to tell people about Jesus. So I have one more question for you. I'd like you to write this down too. I want you to write down the name of one person you think you could be reaching out to, and one way that you could be crop dusting them with your love. It's good. Okay? One name of someone you want to reach out to, and one way, I'll say it again, to crop dust them with your love. Now, this one feels a lot more personal, right? I don't want to call on you guys. But does anybody want to share? No pressure. Yes. Not if you don't want to. That's so good. That's so good. Anybody else? Yes.
Mine would have to be my best friend Rose.
Okay. That's awesome. What did you want to do to love her?
Give back what she's been teaching me about how to love others well.
That's so good. Thank you. That's so good. Anybody else? Yeah. Your roommate. That's a good one. How are you going to show her your love? That's good. Living in a college dorm or apartment requires a lot of love, right? That can be hard. That's so good. Okay. Yeah.
I think mine would be one of my friends,
That's so good. Loving your friends well. That's really good. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with one last verse. 2 Corinthians 5:13 and 14. If we are out of our mind, as some say, it is for God. If we are in our right mind, it is for you, because Christ's love compels us. Because we are convinced that one died for all, and therefore all died. We're about to go into a time of worship and communion. And as you take communion, I want you to kind of think about these things, okay? For Christians, when you take communion, right, you take the bread, which represents Christ's body. You take the juice, which represents Christ's blood. And together, they serve as a reminder of the that we talked about in John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only son. So as you're taking communion, there'll be 2 stations set up in the back, and the band's going to play 3 songs. So you can go up individually. You can grow up in a group of girls. Sometimes it's fun to do communion together. But I want you to think about, right, this is a reminder of God's love, but also a celebration that God so loved the world, he gave his only son, that we could know his love. And I forgot how I was supposed to end. Is the band coming up? I'm going to pray, and the band's going to come up. There we go. Okay. Dear Jesus, God, thank you so much for this weekend. Thank you for the women in this room. God, thank you for rescuing us. Thank you so much, God, for the love that you've showed to all of us. You're willing to sacrifice your own son, Lord, that we might know you, be able to live out of your love. I pray that, Lord, in your name.